All right. Hey, everyone. I'm with Scott Noblet. Hey, Scott.
Hi,
How are
Jennifer. How are
you?
you? Good, good. How are you?
Good. So, Scott is in Columbus, Ohio, and he had come to eXp about a little over 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, just January 1st, 2019.
20, yeah, 19 something. No,
Yeah,
2019. That would
yeah, right.
be
Yeah,
awesome.
around 1900 and something.
Exactly.
Right.
But you were at Remax for over 15 years.
Yeah,
So I'm curious, like what made you change and how is it going for you in these 2 years?
right. Yeah, I guess the way I relate it is I really enjoyed the people that I worked with at Remax. I was at two different Remax offices over the course of 15 years, and a
Hmm.
lot of the same people moved to the second office, and a lot of good friends, many of my good friends, close, mentors, people that I enjoyed working with were
Hmm.
at the second office eventually. Actually, I should say both offices, but
Yeah.
a lot. Anyway, long story short, I had some clients who ended up looking. They started looking in Columbus, but they ended up buying a house up in Lima. And the agent on the other side of that was Sean Richardson up in Lima with eXp, and
Hmm.
he had approached a for sale by owner, which he was telling me that his story is that he had never approached a for sale by owner before. He was you
Did
know
you help him with that?
averse. No, no. See, I didn't know him at all until my clients wanted to go see his open house. And sure enough, Sean had appendicitis or something like that, and he was in the hospital. So
Oh my
we
gosh.
actually asked one of his associates to show it at the open house to my clients, being
Hmm.
that it would have been like a 2 hour drive for me each way. So
That's too
um,
far.
yeah, yeah, an hour and a half or so. And they ended up loving it, and we wrote them an offer, and we ended up doing that transaction. But
Well,
during
how
the
did you
course,
end up
yeah,
oh, you ended up with him. They were using him up in Lima because
yeah,
they had already
right.
met him.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
their listing agent.
Got it.
They were for sale by owner, but they ended up going with him as their listing agent. So,
Oh
and
my gosh.
yeah, and I really wasn't looking to make a change. I was happy with the people
Hmm.
around me, longtime friendships, a lot of really good realtors, good resources to go to
Yeah.
ask questions, mentors, that kind of thing.
And you had been there for a long time, so you were
Yeah,
like
yeah,
ingrained in the culture and
right.
all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So then what happened?
Yeah, so kind of like I've heard many people say it is that once you see a EXP and what it contains and what it's about, you can't unsee it. So
Hmm.
um, it kind of took me gradually. One of the stories I have is that I had on my license plate, I had a version of Remax Guy on my license plate,
Hmm.
and uh, when I knew that I was leaving Remax was when I decided not to renew my Remax Guy license plate.
Oh no. That was like subconsciously you were
Yeah,
like, oh, okay.
yeah. And I was actually heading up to Lima for that. I think it was either for the inspection or the closing, and I was like, now I know I'm going to EXP.
Well, I know that like one of the big concerns was, well, I think let me back up. So it is kind of funny, like how you ended up meeting Sean. And I don't think I know Sean, but like, so he approached a for sale by owner, which he had never approached before. It
Right,
was these clients.
right.
They ultimately listed with him. Then they were going, but they had done business with you before.
Well, yeah. What I had the buyer and he had the
Yeah,
seller.
got it.
So yeah, and my buyers were looking around Polaris Mall, which is right on the north end of Columbus.
Hmm.
And that was about a year and a half or so before we ended up doing this transaction up in Lima.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so, so the real story is really involved, and I think it personally, I think it involves some divine intervention.
Sure, sure. It
Yeah,
sounds like it did.
yeah, yeah,
So then after it closed and you had built this sort of relationship with him or you knew him or whatever, and you guys did
yeah,
the deal together,
yeah,
then it was, tell me a little bit more about how, because you had a concern, like, hey, I'm not really looking for a change. I'm not unhappy. Like everything is good. I like my
yeah.
broker. I like the
Right.
people I work with. I like my office. And so how did you get from there to now being to not renewing your license plate?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is it EXP guy now? Is that what it says?
No, no,
No.
no, no. Actually, I started my own team a few years ago. Just to say that real quick.
Mhm.
So my team is called Buckeye Home Team,
Mhm.
being that we're in Ohio and I'm an Ohio State alumni.
Nice. I also love Buckeyes, not the
Yeah,
team. I don't know anything about the sports, but the candy, so good.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The Buckeyes, the peanut
Yeah.
butter and chocolate.
Oh,
Yeah,
delicious. Hmm.
but
Anyway,
so yeah, Buckeye Home Team is my team name. So I have that on. It's a version of Buckeye Home Team on my license plate now. But
that's better anyway.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I guess, like I said, I couldn't unsee what I had seen, and I knew that there were truths that came to mind. Things that I've heard. I think it was like, I believe it was Robert Kiyosaki, or one of the well-known coaches or
Hmm.
mentors, real estate and business, that talks about, there are these quadrants, and the quadrants are, moving from, are you a production worker or are you a business owner? Is that, what do
Right.
you want to be, a production worker or a business owner?
Right.
And I kind of felt like, the real opportunity in real estate was to be a business owner who either had a team of agents or could be paid on multiple people, helping them succeed. And
Hmm.
another facet of this, really, by the time we closed, I knew I was going to eXp. I'd already committed to Sean. I was going to do it. I just
Hmm.
really waited till the first of the year to do it. But the other thing that had happened was, I went through a certified, in Central Ohio, we have what we call certified real estate mentor
Okay.
class. It was like a 2-day class. And I went through that. And um, being that I have right around 20 years experience in real estate, I also worked for a builder for a couple of years while I used to be an engineer, which is a lot of people think that, engineers are too detail oriented. Maybe
Right.
that's why I'm not an engineer anymore. But yeah,
Right.
I like being out and about, and kind of being an entrepreneur, and going from place to place more so than
Yeah,
sitting in a
maybe you weren't
cubicle.
really meant to be an engineer. That's why you're a
Yeah, right,
realtor.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of followed a friend in engineering, but I'm going up down too many paths right now. But back to my why of, selecting EXP, and the aspect of not being a production worker. That
Mhm.
my income was always dependent on my own ability to produce closings. To
Well, and
find.
that's the thing, right? Like that's what everybody as real estate agents, I mean, you work, you get paid. You work, you get paid. You work, you get paid. You don't work, you don't get paid.
Right.
So
Every
it's
time you
like,
have a closing, you're unemployed.
right. And so it is a different, to your point, it's a totally different mindset to go from looking at your business as a business instead of as a job of clock in, get paid, clock in, get paid. Don't clock in, don't get paid.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I
So
had seen.
you had seems like you had some previous kind of training or heard of that like
Yeah,
before. So then
right,
that seemed like that prepped you a little bit more for this model that we have
right,
here.
right. And there's really so many aspects to it too. I mean, um, some of the big time brokers out there have these systems where, they have people who are training you at the local level, at
Right.
your local office. But to me, EXP uses the economies of scale,
Hmm.
meaning that you can go into, from your computer at your home, you can go into EXP World, EXP University, and virtually get any training that you desire, that would be helpful to help you produce at a higher level,
Yeah.
and to do many, many things, not just producing at a high level, but
Right,
many
it's a lot of
things.
things. But I
Yeah.
also like about the training too, where there's levels. So, and it's like that on the calendar. So you have the first level, which is like the fast track, and they're labeled that way, and that's
Right,
for brand new people. Then you
right.
have like the icon series, which are for people to begin this mindset shift that you're talking about. And
Yeah.
they're labeled as such, and they're taught by people in the business because I agree with you. I think at most brokerages, the training is similar, right? But a lot of times it's taught by people that maybe haven't done a deal in a really long time, or
Mhm.
like maybe aren't as productive as like say I want to be, right?
Right, right.
But then you
Or,
have this, huh?
I was just going to say one aspect that I saw, because I looked at some of the other models over the last couple of years before I went to eXp, and
Yeah.
it, when I look at their hierarchy of, how their training model or their business model, it's very top heavy.
Yeah.
And especially when they're also promoting an idea of revenue sharing or a profit sharing.
Hmm.
And so what I saw in eXp was this economy of scale that, hey, we have trainers that are all over the country that can train.
It's not just like in your building, the person
Right,
who does that one thing, maybe. It's
right,
like anybody from, well, around the world now.
right, right. And
Yeah.
so that's, not only that, but the lack of brick and mortar overhead expenses, when you get into owning. I know that I had heard of our brokerage. I can't tell you how many maybe 2,000 square feet or 3,000 square feet of space was 10,000 a month years ago.
Well,
And
it's expensive because you also want like
yeah,
high visibility too, I would
right,
think,
right.
if you're going to
Being,
be, yeah.
yeah, being in one of the best zip codes and one of the
Hmm.
high growth areas of Columbus,
Right.
North Columbus. And then you've got staffing and
All
overhead,
this stuff.
lighting
Yeah.
and all that kind of thing. So I really saw eXp as being the better model, not only
Economically.
right, not only from a cost efficiency standpoint, but also from how I could grow my own business. The various ways I could benefit. The buying of stock at a discount. Our growth of stock over the past year and a half has been incredible.
Oh, yeah,
In
for
terms of the
sure.
values and things. I mean, if you look at the big picture.
Yeah.
Um, so many things that were beneficial, and I think that's why so many people around, like if you just looked at within the United States, so many of the top producers are coming over.
Yeah,
Um,
because they understand multiple streams of income.
right.
Well, and that's also too, we were talking about the different classes. There is like another series on there that's the Excel series that are for like people like us that already understand this concept of multiple streams of income, of building a business and looking at it as a business and looking at like what is my retirement going to be.
Right.
And that was something for me that I found was missing in a lot of other brokerages when I would look at their training. I don't need you to tell me how to talk to a for sale by owner, or that I need to make my calls, or that whatever, right? Like I
Yeah.
want more advanced concepts. And that's
Right.
part of what I really like about the training too, because you know what you're
Right.
getting when you look at the class and it's labeled
Right.
properly.
Right. Yeah. One just to diverge on a point you made. The number of calls. I'm trying to do some mentoring now. I have a program I call SOAR,
Uh-huh.
SOAR,
Okay.
which is synergy, opportunity, accountability, and results. And
Oh, I love it.
yeah, yeah. So we help realtors soar. But
Is it open
um,
for all realtors?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
cool. Tell us a
yeah,
little bit about it in case somebody's interested.
yeah. Okay, so it's kind of goes back to my certified real estate mentor. I want to help others, and especially I want to, in one sense, attract agents who feel like they need some improvement. They're hitting a plateau. You want to help them to excel.
Hmm.
And in our eXp model, if we help agents that we're also helping to come into the eXp model,
Right.
we're increasing their income. That's beneficial to us also.
Right. It's for everybody because we're all like, we have ownership in it.
Yeah.
So if somebody's interested, how do they get more information and what is the cost?
Yeah, yeah. At this point, I haven't really developed it into a cost model, but it is part of the plan.
Okay.
But there's just a lot of years of experience. I'm getting into, especially in the seller's market. We spend a lot of time on how can we better compete in a seller's market. Where in Columbus, Ohio, and probably many places around the country, we're seeing people go 20, 30, 40, fifty
Oh my
thousand
gosh,
dollars
it's
above, yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
above list price.
And that's Ohio. Can you imagine California?
Right.
It'd be
Yeah,
like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
could be, right. But things like that. What are the strategies you can do to make a very competitive offer in a highly competitive market?
Yeah.
Um, Mentoring, just things like, don't waste your time on things that aren't productive. there was a trainer many years ago, Floyd Wickman, that would talk about,
Oh, I
we
know.
get
Yeah.
caught up in, yeah, he had a program called Sweat Hogs, and it was a really intense training program, but he would talk about how we get in this mode of, we pull out the bottom drawer and reorganize it,
Right.
something that's, we feel productive, but then it really has nothing to do with our actual bottom line.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. That's crazy. Well,
Yeah.
talk to me about, so there has been a lot of people that say exactly what you were feeling at the time. Like, I really like my broker. I'm not upset at anything. Nothing is wrong. I
Right.
don't, I'm not like, don't really want to make a change. I like all the people that I work with, all this stuff. So like, talk to us about how, like how that changed for you or how that shifted for
Yeah.
you.
Influenced me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I did. Well, part of it is my age. I started real estate in 1996. I got my license 95.
Hmm.
Started in 96. Actually got to a point where I was not making enough income and had to get out for a while and do some other
Oh,
work. And then my dad passed away in 2003, and I had to take some classes. I decided to give it a go again. And so from 2003 is when I joined Remax, and then 15
okay.
years with Remax. So I've been in real estate since 2003 full time.
Okay.
But uh, part of that is my age too. Part of the answer you're looking for, I'm now 62. While I really enjoy meeting people, and it's kind of cool. I get to meet people from around the world and help
Hmm.
them in their, search for homes and all that. Um, Part of me is that I don't want to be that production worker. I want to
Hmm.
find a way to create income, um, through the eXp model, through building of stock portfolio within
Hmm.
eXp, and then also attracting agents, which we've been doing a good amount of that. So part of our SOAR program is really uh, coaching and mentoring and just hearing from and exchanging information with, agents. There's a few new agents. There's a number of us that have been around a few years, and then
Hmm.
several years. So we have a nice diversity of mix of people in our group that,
Nice.
our current SOAR call that we're doing, SOAR Zoom is what it is really. So, um,
Right.
but yeah, I guess,
What I'm hearing you
I am
say is that you took a look at it and said, what is that worth to me? And if
right.
and if I stay here, well, one, I'm sure that when you moved, it's not like you can't be friends with people, right? And you can't like
Right.
communicate with them. So it's
Right.
like, okay, if I don't, what is the cost of me not moving, which is an opportunity cost, right? So the
Yeah.
cost of you not moving, it sounds like it was you wouldn't feel like you had enough to retire. You had no other opportunities
Yeah.
to build that retirement income.
Yeah. That's a good point. Really, one of the things that I don't, this is not supposed to be a diss against Remax, but 15 years with the company. And, I walked away with a lot of plaques and certificates and medals and things, but,
Yeah.
I really didn't have any appreciable wealth to show. I had a
Hmm.
business that I had created with,
Right.
using the branding of the company, but,
Hmm.
nothing significant to
Right.
walk away with. And just in my example, and the people in our group are what we call our partnership, or our
Hmm.
eXp partners. We there's a number of us that have developed a certain amount of wealth, within our stock portfolio, as well as our
Right.
residual incomes that are happening through the revenue
Yeah.
sharing, not profit sharing, but revenue sharing.
Right.
We don't have to subtract. The profit sharing comes from revenue minus expenses
Hmm.
equals profit. Well,
Hmm.
we don't have the expenses, so we have a revenue sharing
It's a
model.
bigger number. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So it
So
sounds like now you just feel a little bit more ready to retire when the time has come. Whereas if you
yeah,
had stayed, that's not really a possibility. And I think
yeah,
what a lot of people don't understand too is we can sell that stock. There are
yeah,
certain times that it does need to be vested, but then there are certain instances where it doesn't. So
right,
it's not like you can still keep your investment portfolio strategy if you do have one already,
right,
and move it
yeah,
around. Like I think most investors would tell you it's probably not a good idea to keep everything in one stock, right?
right,
Like
right.
so,
Yeah, I
and it
agree.
can be moved.
Yeah, diversity, diversify your portfolio.
Exactly.
And
So, but I can see how, like, where before you were never given the opportunity, but now you're doing the same job, but you're earning money in three different ways, two of which are related specifically to your retirement, which
right,
never happened before.
right. And I love the aspect of creating income through my ability to help others do
Hmm.
better, to
Yeah.
increase their sales and their business.
Hmm.
That I think is probably the biggest facet that I really like is that we're rewarded. I mean, some people are just naturally very productive. There was an agent that I brought on who's became an icon in it, his first 5 months at eXp.
Nice.
He's a super producer. Um, and so there's people like that you don't really, in a sense, need to coach and train or
Yeah.
whatever. But I love the aspect of being able to pass on some nuggets of I've learned over the years, not just that I've maybe the mistakes that I've made or the
We've all made mistakes, the
yeah,
same
yeah,
ones.
right,
We all
yeah,
make the same mistakes,
right, right,
actually.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm trying to encourage people not to make the mistakes, not to go down
Yeah.
the
It's
paths
not
that
going
are
to work.
worthless. Yeah, I think it's one of the coaches, Hank Kavinik says,
Uh-huh.
that's the stupid tax that we pay.
Right.
We
Exactly.
invest a bunch of money in things that don't work in a sense, or we don't make them work. It's not
Right.
necessarily the program
They
that
just don't
doesn't
work
work.
for us.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Well,
So
talk to me about culture, because that was like a big thing that you
yeah,
had being at one place for 15 years, and the
yeah,
loyalty of that. So
right.
I can hear from you, and I understand from you that, like, that piece was going to cost you exponentially more, and it would have been your life, right? Like your retirement, your life, and pouring into that wouldn't have got that. But let's talk about just the people side of it for a minute.
Yeah,
And how is the culture now
right,
for
right.
you at
Well,
eXp?
I think part of it is you immediately realize that we're in this together as
Hmm.
EXP agents. We don't look at it so much from a standpoint that you're a competitor of mine. Like
Right.
if I were to talk to somebody in my local office, I kind of don't want to share my real nuggets,
Mhm.
that are really producing income for me because they could pick it up and run with it. And it's kind of like the Shark Tank,
Yeah, but they
concept.
won't. That's the
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah, right, right, right. But I think within EXP, the culture is really one of collaboration, and that's also what we're doing with we have a Monday morning SOAR call currently, which
Hmm.
is not only my SOAR idea, but it's also just kind of a weekly, hey, let's get together and kind of check in, and
Yeah.
let's collaborate and let's learn from one another, and then send each
Nice.
other on our way for the week. And um, yeah, I just think that it was obvious the collaboration I was seeing with EXP.
It
Um,
sounds like you felt like it was more relaxed, like you were getting real information.
right. Yeah, and I mean, I also had, I would say, I also had a lot of collaboration with my Remax associates,
Hmm.
the people that I worked with,
Hmm.
and a lot of, very generous mentoring and things like that.
Yeah.
But I guess with EXP, I feel like it takes it to a whole nother level. You can go to people that really know the depths of, information.
Not
Um,
just the people that are like in your office, the
right,
two
right.
or
Yeah,
300 people that are
right.
there. It's
Yeah, yeah. In our
40,
case, it was like
50,000.
30. Yeah, ours
Yeah.
was maybe 20 to 30 agents, 20
Oh.
or 20 or so that you would go to for, questions and answers.
Oh,
And
wow.
where, EXP, there's really thousands of people to choose from,
Yeah.
in a lot that are, freely giving of their information and their
Hmm.
time and things. And,
How
that
is meeting people virtually been for you?
good. Yeah, I actually, I think it has to do with keeping it flowing, kind of like this conversation. We're not
Hmm.
having these awkward moments of silence or whatever. But
Right.
and what I try to do in our call, I'm kind of the host of it more so than the leader,
Okay.
and it's more about, hey, good to see you here. How you doing? Give everybody a chance to kind of talk about what their life's been like, and
Hmm.
especially in real estate,
Hmm.
how we can learn from other, what are their challenges, what are their what are the things that they're
Yeah, and you
dealing
weren't
with.
really doing that
Right.
at the
Right.
Remax office,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Really, I had no leadership mentoring other than a few people would ask me here and there, for help with some
Yeah.
technical issue or something like that. But I wasn't in any kind of a leadership role, I guess. So
Okay. So you like that. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you being on. I think a lot of what you shared, I know that people are going to get a lot out of it. So, but if people have a referral in Columbus, what's the
Yeah.
best way to get a hold of you?
So my cell phone number, direct cell phone number is 614-805-9355. And my email address, being that I'm Buckeye Home Team, within eXp Realty, brokered by eXp Realty, it's Scott, SCOTT, at buckeyehometeam.com. Just, we're the Buckeye State. So
Mhm.
Scott, SCOTT, at buckeyehometeam.com. I
Awesome.
always like
And
that
then,
idea. We're the home team.
yeah, I like it. Are
Yeah.
you the home court advantage? I guess I don't know a
Yeah.
lot about sports, but
Right. Right.
are you taking more people into your store? Like, could people reach out and ask you about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I would like to start a new group that would be for any agent from anywhere,
Hmm.
that wants to join us, and, be happy to kind of talk about customizing to what it is that you feel that you need and see if that
Okay.
really makes sense for your business. So,
That's awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Scott. I really appreciate it.
yeah. Thank you, Jennifer. I really
Have a good
appreciate you
day.
inviting me in.
No problem. Bye.
All right. All right. Take care. Goodbye.